The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Freshman Focus. A look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 9th with the next generation July 6th. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. And now here's your host, Roger Houston.
Welcome to another edition of Freshman Focus. We're in Delaware, Ohio, the home of the Little Brown Jug. And our Freshman Focus this week features Tim Lane. After this message, we'll be back to sit down and talk with Tim Lane about his Ohio breds in training.
Racing is back at Eldorado Scioto Downs. Catch the excitement all summer long. Live racing every Tuesday through Saturday nights. First race post time is 5:45. Mark your calendar to see the future stars with a $150,000 Next Generation July 6th. Thrilling harness racing at Eldorado Scioto Downs. One track, 90 racing days, 100% action. Horse players can earn points with the new Caesars Reward Program. Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing returns May 9th.
Welcome back to Freshman Focus with trainer Tim Lane here in Delaware, Ohio. And Tim, last time we were here, I believe you were in one of the other barns, but this year you're here in the Jugette barn. Why the move?
Right after the fair this year, they started to redo our existing barns. So we moved to the Jugette barn, and with the overflow, we went into barn 36. We're just happy that Delaware's putting the money into those barns and redoing them and redoing them the right way, and they look spectacular. And we actually get to move back into our barn next week, and then they're going to redo the last 2 barns, and then everybody will have a new barn that way.
And it's not just a beautification program. You say they even changed the wiring and the lights and everything. Yeah, they pretty much stripped everything out and started over, redone all of our doorways, all the electric, redone the offices, put baseboard heat in them, cabinets, countertops, and they've just done a very good job with what they've done. How many horses you got in your whole stable? We've got 24 in the barn right now. And of those 24, how many 2-year-olds? We've got 13 2-year-olds. And we're going to look at 10 of your 2-year-olds. 8 of them are Fear the Dragons, 2 down by the seaside. The other horses that you have, what are they? Most of the 3-year-olds are Fear the Dragons also. I've got a couple older Indiana horses, but all the 3-year-olds are Fear the Dragons also, and then I've got one 4-year-old that's a Lost for Words. Mm-hmm. Living up to past horses that you've had, I see you got Shamalama Ding Dong. Yep. What's the story on this one? Well, just we named the one that Jack Jim Betty Karen last year that you said would give the announcers fits, and I think it has. And I said, we just need another name that could challenge the announcers. So this one might do it. Well, Barry Vickroy probably won't have a trouble with it. That's a great movie also. Yeah. What movie was it? Animal House. Animal House? Yeah, Animal House. Can you believe I've never seen that movie? Is that right? Yeah. Well, the process. When did you get these 2-year-olds? We got these 2-year-olds early November. Some of them come later. They were at Bruce's, and Bruce likes to leave them turned out some. So we didn't get most of them till early November. Now some of them I had in October. The ones from the sale, I take them from the sale, the select sale, and then turn them out for about 3 weeks, and then we start with them. So we've had most of them in year round. And we turn them out, a few days here and there through the winter, but they've been in for most part of all winter. Did you have a good winter? It's been a super winter. I think we've lost 3 days. We lost 1 day to cold.
one day to ice and one day to snow. But other than that, you know, days off, you know, we give them days off, but none that that the weather's predicted we had to take off.
You got a great track and mild winter. How are the horses coming along?
All of our 2-year-olds trained in 15 Saturday, and then they went right back to 15 on Tuesday, yesterday. For some reason, it was bad and windy, and they trained better Saturday than they did on Tuesday. So these 2-year-olds, is, you know, they're up and down. I mean, it's just you just got to be level-headed and take your time and know that there's going to be peaks and valleys.
I guess being here at Delaware and the weather's been good, are you maybe a little ahead of schedule?
I think we are. We usually, you know, usually when Brian Brown comes back from Florida, he's usually 10, 12 seconds ahead of where we're at. But I think Brian's right about there too. So, you know, judging that, yeah, we're a little ahead of time, you know. But, you know, I seen somebody put on Facebook the other day that, you know, Paulding's only 7 weeks away. So,
yeah,
you know, it'll creep up pretty quick on us now.
It sure does. Will you qualify here at Delaware, or will you go down to Scioto Downs?
Here at Delaware, and we usually qualify, you know, twice at Delaware. Now, last year I did take a couple that I just wanted to get it away from home to Scioto to qualify. And that's not saying we won't go, you know, qualify some at Scioto, but we'll start right here. You know, kudos to Brian and Jenny for getting all that set up, and the commission for letting us do it here. It's, you know, trying to ship, you know, 12, 14 horses down and qualify them at Scioto is not near as convenient as doing it right here. So kudos to those guys that set all that up.
Now, you mentioned shipping. What's it like, the learning process with shipping your 2-year-olds?
Back 8, 10 years ago, I don't know if the horses were dumber then and they're smarter now, but, you know, we usually don't have any problems with 2-year-olds anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we used to, you know, they wouldn't load and things like that, but, you know, the farms do such a good job working with them, and you know, it's a lot easier than it used to be.
Yeah. So we've actually got about a month and a half before those first qualifiers, and you're at 2:15 now. We stay here for
yeah, we'll stay at 15 for at least one more week, and then you know, we'll drop down and you know, we'll change up our double headers a little bit. You know, we hone it on them pretty good, so you know, we might go one double header a week and then drop them down with a single, and then we'll start double headers again. But yeah, I would like to be you know, in the bike, you know, sometime around the middle of May. So
how do you handle the horses going to the starting gate? Has Wolfenberg been here?
Last weekend, last Friday. No, last Saturday. That's the only day he can do it on because he's working. He was here last Saturday, and I think we put maybe there was 40 horses from here that went behind the gate. So, you know, we appreciate Mike coming up and doing that. And, you know, you work all winter, and the last thing you want to do is not, you know, put the effort in to put them behind the gate and, you know, put all that effort in, and they go to the qualify the first time they see the gate and they make a break. So we like doing that.
Thanks, Tim, for sitting down with us and talking about your operation. And after this message, we'll return to the Tim Lane stable here in Delaware, Ohio, and take a closer look at his 10 Ohio breds in training.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Welcome back to Frenchman Focus with Tim Lane. Tim, the first one we're going to take a close look at is Fear of the City by Fear of the Dragon out of City Delight. One of your Fear of the Dragons.
One of the many.
How are they?
Good so far. I mean, I don't have a problem training the Fear the Dragons. You know, a lot of people have a lot of opinions about them, but I seem to get along pretty well with them.
You've never had this many though before?
No, not close. I've got a lot of Fear the Dragons.
Now the 8 we're looking at, the Fear of the Dragons, do they all have similar traits?
Yeah, they're all, for the most part. They all seem to be really good gaited and for the most part have good attitudes. I've left 3 of the Fear of the Dragons stallions and attitude's been good, so we'll leave them as stallions for now.
Now you're a big guy. We'll look at him. I would say Fear of the Dragons kind of middle of the road in stature.
Yeah, he definitely is. This one is. I've got 2 other Fear of the Dragons that are stud colts. They're a pretty good size for Fear of the Dragons. So he's about normal for the Fear of the Dragons, middle to small.
Yeah. And how much have you been with him?
He's been 15.
Now, will you stay at 15 for a couple weeks?
We will. No, not 2 weeks, but we will for the next 2 trainings. We'll be at 15.
When do you add the race bikes?
We like to be 10 or just a hair under. We like to get to like 8 in a jog cart and then go to the bike.
Yeah. Now, do you usually take 2 horses at the track? They
Always.
train together?
Always take at least 2, yeah.
Yeah. Will it get down to a point where you'll try and get extra help and maybe take 3 or 4?
Yeah, we sometimes we team up with some of the other trainers and we take 4 at a time.
Yeah. Do horses have to get used to other horses out on the racetrack?
I think they do, yeah. I've never seen one train well by itself. They always seem to train better in a set.
Yeah. This is Fear of the City by Fear the Dragon. This is Fear the Hate by Fear of the Dragon out of the Mad Hatter. Seems like I remember this mare, the Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter, that's a really, really good family. And as far as the 2-year-old colts, Fear of the Dragons, this is the nicest one that I've been around. So if he continues to improve, I mean, I think he's going to be a really nice colt.
Do you see a lot of improvement as they get closer to the races, or is the improvement early on and then they kind of flatten out, or what?
Well, I think the 2-year-olds are, you got to be patient because they're all over the place. Like I said, you know, they'll train really good one week, and then the next week you think, this thing's not going to be any count, and then they'll come back and they'll train good the following week. But as far as seeing it late, when you start getting down to that crunch time, and you get down to 10, 12 in a jog cart, that's when you decide whether they're going to make it or not, or what you've got. So the improvements is probably all the way through. Yeah.
Fear of the Dragon, here this is Fear of the Hate. Do they all basically wear the same equipment, or do you adjust?
No, they've all. I don't think we've got one that's exactly the same. This colt, we've got him opened up a little bit. He was a little bit warm, so he's got an open type bridle on to kind of calm him down a little bit. But I think we've got different equipment on just about every horse.
Yeah. This is Fear of the Hate by, you guessed it, Fear of the Dragon. This is The Fugitive by Fear of the Dragon out of Mississippi River. Were these horses all named before you got them?
The 2, Shemalemadingon and the Fugitive, were named, and we renamed them. We bought them as weanlings, and they were already named. Mm-hmm. And then the wife and I renamed them. I named this one, The Fugitive, is named after a Merle Haggard song. I like Merle Haggard, and I like the song The Fugitive, and that's what I named him.
Now, all along, I thought he was named after the TV show and the movie, The Fugitive.
No, that's I like my music, and I like Merle Haggard, and so I named one after a Haggard song.
Watch out next year. Hard telling what these horses will be named.
That's right.
Keep it up. Again, this is the 3rd Fear of the Dragon, and outside of the coloring, they all look pretty similar.
Yeah, he stamps them pretty well. I mean, that's they're all about the same size. I've got a couple that are a lot larger, but the rest of them are all about medium size.
Does the size of a horse make it different in training?
No, not around the Ohio tracks. I mean, you know, you get some of the bigger horses that have to get around the half miles in Ohio. It makes it a little tougher on them. But you know, when you got when you're racing in Indiana or you know Lexington or the Meadowlands, I mean, you know, you always think a bigger horse gets around it a little better. But around here, as long as they're not too large, I think you're fine.
You don't race too much at the county fairs, do you?
I don't. I mean, I think we raced at 3 last year, 3 or 4, but you know, we'd rather not. But you know, sometimes they just need experience to get to the fairs before they can go on to the raceway. So
one thing, the highlight I guess would be at Scioto Downs, where Jason writes a Buckeye series for the horses eligible Buckeye Stallion Stakes.
Yeah, we appreciate Jason doing that. It gives us another opportunity to race for, you know, if we don't have that top-notch sire stakes horse, and gives us a place to go, and you know, without having to go to the fairs. And Jason's done a really good job of getting our young horses raced.
And that's important because when you're racing 2-year-olds, though, do you race them back-to-back weeks? Or
we do sometimes. You know, I'd rather have about 10 days in between, but you know, sometimes we'll race them, you know, 2 weeks in a row or 3 weeks in a row. But you know, we're only looking at, you know, 10, 12 starts at the most. So I like to spread it out as 2-year-olds.
I like the name The Fugitive because I'm thinking real quick here now. They couldn't capture the fugitive in the TV and movie.
Well,
he was always getting away from them. Maybe this one will do the same on the racetrack.
Well, let's hope.
They won't be able to catch him.
Let's hope.
This is The Fugitive by Fear the Dragon. This is Fear Romeo by Fear the Dragon out of Lady Capulet. He's very studdy. How long will you keep him with stud?
Well, I usually cut him before now. Bruce wanted to kind of hold off on a couple of these he keeps telling me, I said, you know, he's ornery on the track, he hollers, and he said his daddy hollered on the track too. So right now I think we're pretty well stuck with them being studs. You know, it'd be tough to cut them this late, you know, being down to 15 and I mean, if it gets to the point where they, you know, can't keep their mind on what they're doing on the track, it's time to cut them. But so far, all the studs we've got have been good.
I guess the question that I would come up with is he more steady today than he was a month, 2 months ago?
No, he's been steady all the way through. Yeah. From day one, he's been very steady.
So more than likely, you're going to have to deal with it when you get to the races?
Yeah, and it's always a concern when you get to the paddock, especially at Scioto Downs when you don't have you know, you've got a very small wall. It'd be a lot of babysitting. You have to babysit this one. You can't leave him alone.
As far as when you turn and go the right way, though, does he settle down, or is he still hard to handle?
No, he's very good going the right way, but he still talks. I mean, he'll yell the whole mile.
Yeah. Well, if you're taking a 2-hole trip, maybe you can
scare the one in front of him or something.
Make him go faster, get you the mile trip.
Yeah.
This is Fear Romeo, and he is a Romeo. This is Shamalama Ding Dong by Fear the Dragon out of Queen Me. This one is a gelding.
Yes, yep. The 2 that we bought as weanlings, I went ahead and gelded them.
So you've had this one more than the others.
Yeah, we bought. There was a couple of dragons for sale that out of mares that I raced that Dr. Kruger from Utica had, and wanted to get rid of them, and so we bought those early.
And that's why he's got the name.
Yep.
Who comes up with the names, you or your wife?
The wife, normally. Yep. She definitely come up with Jack, Jim, Betty, Karen, so we'll blame that one on her.
Don't remind me of that one.
We'll blame that on her.
I think one race I don't know. I think I changed the order in the horse's name when he was racing one of those.
And that's okay. We know who you're talking about.
Well, I won't make this mistake with this Fear of the Dragon. Shamalama, ding dong. This is the filly Mooney Dragon by Fear of the Dragon out of Western Moonlight. One of the few fillies that you got.
Yeah, filly. I had a full sister to her last year that won a couple legs of the Stallion Series and was third in the Buckeye Final. Full sister and identical to her.
What was the full sister's name?
Fear of the Moonlight.
Fear of the Moonlight.
Yep.
And that was a full sister.
Full sister. Yep.
Are the fillies different on the racetrack than the geldings and the studs?
Yeah, I think when you get down to the Fear of the Dragon, the fillies, I mean, they are different. I mean, I haven't had a whole lot of the studs. I've had more fillies because, you know, Bruce Trogdon races mostly fillies, but this is the first year I've had a bunch of Fear of the Dragon colts. But the fillies seem to be just as good gaited, but you may be a little more laid back than what the colts are.
And I again say this, maybe it's because you're such a big guy, but these, even the fillies and the colts and the geldings are all about the same size.
Yep. She's a little smaller than most, but she's actually bigger than her sister was at this point.
As a horse gets older and bigger and such, the problems more likely with a big horse?
You know, I think so. I think when you come down to, you know, they got about the same size legs, and you know, they're carrying a few, you know, 2 or 3 extra 100 pounds. It's just like a human. It carries more weight. I think you have more leg problems. So I think so. I mean, I'd rather have a medium to a medium-sized horse than I would an overly large horse.
So it's almost like the human beings. The men can do a lot more than the fillies can do, and you got to treat them a little different.
Yeah, that's correct.
Any problems with her though?
No. She's been a pleasure to train.
And I guess that's what you want in the long run.
Yep.
Have you ever had one though that's been a real problem, and as soon as they start racing, adjusting, and they're perfect?
Yeah, like I said before, these 2-year-olds change so much, and usually from that second to third start, you know, some of them will be, you know, just different as night and day. The light bulb will go on. They'll say, you know, it's time to race, and they finally figure it out. But you know, some get it a little quicker than others.
This is the filly Mooney Dragon by Fear the Dragon. This is the filly Ginger Dragon by Fear the Dragon out of Ginger Shack. You put the hobbles on them right away?
Usually about 10 days in we put the hobbles on. And then once we put the hobbles on, we won't take them off unless it's really, really muddy or for some other reason. But you know, once they go on, they're on for a good 3 months. We won't take them off. And But you know, the nice thing is about the Fear of the Dragons, they take to them so easy. Usually don't have any problems putting the hobbles on these things.
Do you find out most of them were about the same size hobble?
No, I think we're all over the place. I think we're probably anywhere from 56 to a 60. You know, just depending on how big gaited they are and how tall and what their gait's like.
Did you break these horses, or were they already broke?
About half of them I broke, and some of them Bruce had broke at the farm.
Do you like breaking horses?
Yeah. Yep. I still, you know, a lot of these big trainers, they send a lot of them off, but we break all of ours in-house. We still do.
In a way, the way you break those horses to do what you want them to do and such, it carries right along with them. You want them broke just right.
Yeah, I mean, some of them break real easy, and some of them break really, really tough. I mean, you just got to be patient with them, and some of them are so tough that you know, they are really hard to get broken. Some, you know, do send them off to the Amish or to some other people to get them broke that, you know, they can't get them broke.
I know some of the bigger stables, they send a lot of them to the Amish because they don't have the employees to handle a large stable.
Yep, and we don't have that big a stable, so, you know, we still like breaking all of ours in-house.
You got good help?
Yep, good, very good help.
And they've been with you a while.
Yep. Yep.
You must be doing something right.
Makes a difference.
It sure does. This is Ginger Dragon, a filly by Fear the Dragon. This is I'm Afraid Not, a filly by Fear the Dragon, at Afraid Not Hanover. Afraid Not Hanover, you were quite familiar with.
Very, very familiar. She was an open horse for us for a couple years. Just really enjoyed training that mare, and see a lot of abilities in this filly that her mommy had. So hopefully, this is her first foal, I do believe. So hopefully she'll turn out to be as good as her mom was.
How important is confirmation?
Oh, it's huge. I mean, when you start out behind the 8 ball and you don't have one with good confirmation, they've got to go so fast these days that bad confirmation leads into soreness and more vet bills and things like that. But so confirmation's huge.
So you look at it when you going to buy horses, but sometimes they give you horses that other people have chosen. It might be a little tougher.
Yeah, you got to live with it. I mean, sometimes the shoeing can help. You get one that goes to the knee or something, cause a confirmation. We can try some things shoeing wise, but that's like I was in the foaling business for a long time, and what hits the ground is what you're stuck with. So,
have you ever trained many trotters?
I've had 4 trotters over the years, and that's it. One real decent trotter that I liked, and I owned a couple trotters, but I've never had much luck training trotters.
So you kind of stick to the Pacers.
Stick to the Pacers.
This is I'm Afraid Not by Fear the Dragon. This is the filly Santa Barbara Beach by Down by the Seaside out of I Kill Time. Now this one is not a classic Down by the Seaside, at least I think. I always felt the Down by the Seasides were a bit large.
Yeah, she's probably on the smaller side of the Seasides. Now some of the fillies, the Seaside fillies are about this size. The colts tend to be a lot larger, but I've come to find out I think I like the medium-sized Seasides better than the real large ones. Mm-hmm. Seem to get along better.
Did you get this one at the sales?
Yeah. This one was the group of guys bought this one for me. Her original name was Killer Smile, and they changed it to Santa Barbara Beach. And I've had Lehman, Stan Ball, Alan Keith, and Bill Culver. I've had horses for them before, and they bought this filly to sell.
Out on the racetrack, any difference between the Fear of the Dragons and Down by the Seaside?
Oh, yeah, definitely so. I mean, the Seasides are not near as easy to gate, I don't think, as the Fear of the Dragons
really?
are. Fear of the Dragons seem to be a little more gated, easy to gate up. But these 2 Seaside fillies wasn't hard to gate up, and but I've had couple Seaside colts that were very tough to gate up.
How much she been right at 15?
She's been at 15 too. Yeah.
Do you change when you train horses? You say you take them about 2 at a time or something like it. Is it the same 2 every week together?
No, we'll change them up some according to ability. If we get one that needs some time off or a quarter crack or something like that, we'll switch them up. But a lot of times we will go together, keep them together, and that way we can keep track of. 1 week one horse will cut the fast mile. The next training, the other horse will cut the fast mile, so that we can keep them. We don't want to cut the mile all the time. We want them to follow every other time.
Are you a good stopwatch guy?
I'm pretty good at it. Yeah, pretty close.
Do you remember old Mark Ferguson?
Yeah.
Mark never carried a watch.
Yeah.
And yet, when I was helping him down at Pompano, he'd tell me how fast he was going, and I'd take him the other, and he would hit those fractions right on. And just, yeah. I always found that so difficult.
Yeah, it's all repetition. I mean, you can tell about how fast you're going.
Yeah. Well, You do it for a living. I was doing it for fun.
Yeah, yeah.
This is down by the seaside, Santa Barbara Beach. This is the filly Icy Seaside by Down by the Seaside out of Icy Delight. And she's getting, maybe it's about one of the biggest that you got in your barn.
Yeah, yep, she's good size. The Storm Haven group bought this filly at the sale, and she was good size then, and she's done everything right so far.
When you're training, do you train the fillies together and the colts together?
Yeah, if we can. Yeah, sometimes we'll get an odd set where we'll have to take a filly and a colt, but right now we've got them broke up to where colts go with colts and fillies go with fillies.
Is the ability of a filly the same as the ability of a colt?
Yeah, I think we've seen that, nowadays that, there's not a whole lot of difference between them. We got fillies that, can race with the colts, and, we've got fillies that have tried the colts. So, yeah, I think they're very close anymore.
It seems like the times are getting very close anymore.
Yeah, you'll see more and more that, the fillies starting to take on the colts because the purses are better and in the hambo and maybe even in the jug instead of the jugette. If the jug goes for $1 million and the jugette only goes for 400,000, you get a really top-notch filly. I wouldn't be surprised to see some of the trainers take on the colts.
Yeah, with the fillies, do they have a different temperament though?
Well, yeah. I mean, I think so. A lot of times I'd rather have colts than fillies, but fillies can get, we kind of get them turned out a little more than what we do the colts. Mm-hmm. I think they get a little sour at times, and we try to pair the fillies up when we turn them out. Yeah. They don't like to be turned out by themselves. They like to have a companion. Mm-hmm. So we try to get them all paired up and get them turned out that way.
You have a farm nearby?
I do. We got a farm about halfway between here and Marysville. We've got a little farm. We used to have a bunch of brood mares and stuff on, but we got a retired field of about 9 horses. Then we got 5 or 6 paddocks that we keep grass in to get these guys turned out when we can.
With the 2-year-olds, though, you don't turn them out too much, though, do you?
The fillies I turn out, like I said, a lot more than the colts, and we like to get them out, at least once a week, maybe a couple times a week if the weather's good. If the weather's bad, we don't get them out near as much, but we still like to get them turned out.
So these horses that you got, having a farm and such, they get kind of used to being shipped. Yeah, yep. That helps out that way too, and makes it nice so we can get them turned out like that. And then we've got round pens here that if we can't get them to the house or something, get them turned out in. But there's nothing like home. No, that's for sure. This is Icy Seaside by Down by the Seaside. Well, that wraps up another edition of Freshman Focus. I'd like to thank Tim Lane and all of his fine personnel that work with him in his stable and made our job real easy today for Freshman Focus. Join us again next week, same time, same spot for Freshman Focus.
This has been Freshman Focus, a look at 2-year-olds in training across the Buckeye State. Freshman Focus is presented by Eldorado Scioto Downs. Racing begins May 9th with the next generation July 6th. By Sugar Valley Farm. Looking for your next quality standardbred racehorse? Look no further than Sugar Valley Farm in Delaware, Ohio. And by the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center, caring down to a science. Freshman Focus is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.